Welcome to this Mastery Empowerment course from New Earth One Network. This is designed exclusively for your higher self connection and embodiment. Welcome to this Mastery Empowerment course. This is Awakening Emanations, and it is a way that you can fast track to being your authentic version. Our guest host today is Maya Boston, who is someone who assists you in moving from 3D to 5D consciousness. Maya, thank you so much for being here. Welcome.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very honored to be here.
Good morning in the wee hours of where you are on the planet in Australia.
Yes, it is the wee hours, but time is irrelevant in 5D.
Interesting. So we are speaking with this beautiful coach who assists us in that. This is Awakening Emanations. And when we're talking about the inner work, can you please explain the importance of doing this inner work? Because through that inner work is how we get to the better spiritual embodied emanations.
Sure. So the importance of inner work is I've been on my own personal journey for the last 20 years doing inner work, resolving the resistances within me. And as I've done the inner work, and I found that my life got easier. I found that things flowed with ease and grace for me. I found my health improved tremendously. And I found that I just wasn't stressing. I wasn't worrying about the things that I used to before resolving the resistances in the different areas of my life. So it gave me a sense of a new sense of freedom in my life as well. And I found myself more and more, I guess the word would be sovereignty, standing in my sovereignty, which is the ability to be free from external controlling influences, a state of detachment, but I'm still observing and feeling the world around me and what's going on, but I'm not in reaction to it. So I get to consciously choose how I will spend my energy. And with that, there's also an increased level of compassion and empathy towards myself first and foremost, but also towards others. And so there's this level of transformation that happens that then upshifts you into the next part of your journey. But for me, definitely this inner work, when I realized that I got to various stages of sovereignty in my in the areas of my life, I realized then I was a more clear channel, that the light language started coming through, and so this was, I see it, the gifts, that this was the upshift for me, and I don't expect by any means that this would be the end of my journey. I'm sure there's something way beyond this, and I'm really excited to go to keep doing my inner work and to go to that next level.
That's interesting you say that, because oftentimes this inner work makes us resist it even more. For example, if we ever do personal sessions that are really deep and intense, we find that maybe we're hesitant to go to the appointment that day. So it's fun to hear you say that you're looking forward to the inner work. Now, it's painful going into it. Let's talk about how we begin to notice when we need the inner work. This is all about the resistance that you spoke of and triggers.
Absolutely. Triggers are usually the sign that lets us know there's an area that requires our attention in our lives. So um, this is a positive thing, when we get triggered. And let's be realistic. In being triggered, we don't always handle it the best way in the moment either, because we're triggered. uh, and so this is where for me, that introspective journey began, because it was taking time out for myself, even if it was just 5 or 10 minutes. And I would think about my day and what happened during my day, and how did I handle things that came up for me, and could I do better? And this was that part, that time that I gave myself, where I could be totally honest with myself. So if I was triggered by something during the course of my day, I could just sit quietly and be very honest with myself and go, Maya, you really didn't handle that the best way possible. There's room for improvement there. And then the next question for me would be, how can I handle this better? How can I be a better version of myself? And so this honesty with yourself is, I can say it's not always an easy thing to do. Sometimes stuff comes up that we don't want to look at. We don't want to acknowledge that that's even there. And yet, when we come from that place of self-love, self-nurturing, which is the foundational stone of what I teach, then I help make that a lot easier to look at those aspects, because those aspects that are in anger, that are those aspects that are um, in jealousy, in rage, in whatever other lower frequency that comes up for you, those are aspects of ourselves that are in separation, and we need to bring them into the wholeness of our being by loving them back into ourselves, into reintegrate within, because we've judged them, we've made all sorts of criticisms about those aspects of ourselves, and it's really with self-love. Self-love's the glue, if you like, that brings all those parts in separation out. from being separated back into unity. That's where we're going, is, the ultimate uh, fifth dimensional concept here is unity consciousness. So we need to reintegrate all these parts back into the wholeness of our being.
We are certainly in that process now. We can see it in the collective. So, thank you for being a dedicated teacher on this journey, assisting so many. I want to share that when you went on your introspective journey, taking time out for yourself, what you described was really tuning into the higher self, this inner wisdom for you. You asked this higher self of you, and that wisdom that came through from that self love is remarkable.
Yes, absolutely. It is the asking the wisdom of the higher self, because your higher self is your best friend. It's always been there throughout all the many lifetimes that we've lived. The one constant has been the higher self. And so the higher self is there to guide us for our highest good. The higher self was the one aspect that has, if you like, handpicked these experiences for you, knowing you, knowing what your limits are. And so handpicking these experiences for you so that you can learn and grow and expand in the best way possible for your highest good.
That is well worth remembering the next time an issue comes up, be it anything in our life, why things happen. It's all orchestrated by the higher selves, isn't it?
Absolutely. There's no such thing as coincidence. Everything has a reason for happening. And so this is where that introspective journey is really important, because when we take the time to just sit quietly and, um, not just from a health point of view, like a physical health, but also our mental health, emotional health. We're taking time, even if it's as little as 5-10 minutes each day, just to sit quietly and to receive the wisdom of the higher self. And the wisdom can only come through when we are quiet on the inside. When we're busy rushing around in the course of our day, it's not often that we can hear that quiet, gentle prompting, which is that loving higher self.
Thank you for sharing on that. Your ability to bring forth light language came when you did this introspective work. And so you are a channeler of light language. And we're going to experience an activation in this episode. This light language is a higher dimensional frequency. Can you describe what you know about it?
Okay, so light language is the language of the heart. Basically, because there's so many are being awakened to speak their light language, and we realize that we're all speaking different dialects. And so this is where the heart comes in, because when we drop down into the heart space and we're listening from the heart, then the translation can come through for you. So my light language, the primary light language that I use now, comes from the constellation Lyra, I'm told, and that's because I tend to roll the R's a lot. So they told me that was Lyran. But I've had many other light languages come through as well, and I've been Yes, I've been doing this for my clients and doing light language activations, because they're high frequency light codes, that come in through speech, um, which is which is a really good way for other humans to receive it, because when it's coming through one human and through sound, As you know, Lauren, from our many previous interviews, I'm primarily about sound. um, then this is the human body itself, because it's more than 80% water, and water is a great conductor of sound. So the human body is able to take on these light codes and frequencies even more. So so we have this, I had this light language come through. But aside from doing light language, speaking light language with my clients, I've been experimenting with speaking light language to animals. And boy, have I had some incredible responses from the animals as well. Because I think, did that animal actually turn its head and look at me when I was speaking light language? And I thought it was very interesting, the reaction. And it's amazing that when the light language starts coming through, then it's just, I just fully open up to that, and it just comes forth out of my mouth. And I don't, my mind is not in the way that I would be thinking, oh, I need to say this or that. It's just sounds that just fall out of my mouth, and it's light language.
Science will be revealing more about light language as we experiment with it and experience it more in our lives. I know that what you said there about the water in our body and the light language's effect on our bodies, we can hold those vibrations, as we know with cymatics, how sound shapes things, especially sand on paper, in water. We can see how when we feel light language in our body, you shared something that helps us recognize what's going on even better.
Yeah, there's no end to it. I recently, in listening to whale song and to the vocalizations of dolphins, I realized that I was directly receiving light language when I was listening to their vocalizations. And then I could ask for the translation, and I'm translating what the dolphins and the whales are now saying directly through their vocalizations. So it's a never-ending journey. It just keeps opening up, and it's a beautiful adventure of, and I'm always just in awe of how, the universe really works.
Wow. All right. You just said something very cool there. So I wanted to ask, you said that you asked what the message was. So if those who get this light language can't understand it, then what do we do?
Okay, so um, it's really about going inward and centering on the heart space. And in the webinars that I will do later, I will actually talk about the higher heart and activating the higher heart. But let's just start with the heart. So just dropping into the heart space, and we can ask for the translation. And if it doesn't come straight away, that's okay. It does not mean that you haven't received the message, because your body has received it. You are so much more than just the physical body, but it's gone. These light codes and frequencies have gone into the cells of your body, and you've still received it, but you're not understanding the message yet. So it's just a process of trust, trusting that what is coming through for you is what is for your highest good, because light language wouldn't do anything else, because it just is of that higher frequency. It's a fifth dimensional, um, it is the fifth dimensional language. It's no longer um, a direct knowing, a direct translation, if you like. It's not a direct translation, it's a knowing. And that's what fifth dimensional consciousness is. It's a knowing that this is what the message is about. It's not a direct word for word translation. It's not like I'm speaking, Spanish or French or Italian, and then we can translate word for word into English. That's not how light language works. It's almost like a telepathic message that comes in through light codes and frequencies, and it's a package that your body unpacks, unravels for itself. So there's not a word for word linear translation. It's a knowing and understanding of what the basis of the message is.
And it's based in the heart. I love it, the language of the heart. And so we feel it through the heart, and the
Yes.
mind brings us the words in our own interpretation of what that code represents, or the knowing.
Yes, the knowing. That's the fifth dimensional consciousness, is the knowing and the feeling.
So, for those who have trouble feeling or knowing, how would you recommend that we begin to feel or know something, that it's not just our imagination? How do we discern that knowingness?
Okay, so for me, that first signal that there is something going on would be my question to myself: is this my imagination? and we know it's not. It's not our imagination. We're not making it up. It is happening. It's definitely happening. Sometimes people get chills, up and down their body. Sometimes that's the way the body responds, and lets people know, oh no, this is definitely happening. This is the truth here. um, and different people have different ways of their body speaking to them. So it can be through chills, it can be through the hairs on the back of the neck standing up, or it could be something that comes through. um, sometimes for me, because I'm about sound, um, it comes through as a sound in my ear, and I can hear it in my ears. And this is a little sign from the universe that says, oh yes, it's the truth.
Yes. So, tears, when we're moved to tears, if we're speaking, would
Yeah,
that be another?
yes. Can be tears, it can be a sensation in the body, even, can be your heart itself opening up and expanding out. Different, it works differently for different people. So it's a matter of knowing yourself, isn't it?
It's a matter of knowing yourself.
Mm.
We have a lot of reports of ears ringing, ears
Mm.
beginning to ring, or tones in the ear, whether
Yeah.
it's in one ear, the other ear, or sometimes moving from one to the other. What would you
Yes.
say that is? Because that could be another indicator of
Yeah.
this information.
Yes. Well, that's for me. That's how it works. It starts in my right ear, and I know that's something definitely, to me. That's my personal signal. That's something like light codes are coming in into the physical. And if my other ear starts to ring as well, then that's like, okay, that's a full on activation coming in from the universe. And that's how I feel, what's going on in the cosmos. And it's coming down to the planet that way, through, of course, through the lovely interaction of our sun. So our sun's almost like the sun is there to translate and step down the frequencies from the cosmos, and then the sun sends those messages to the earth through the solar flares, and the electromagnetic um, grid that is around our planet receives these frequencies and codes from the solar flares and translates it into the crystalline grid. And the crystalline grid is the one that speaks directly to the humans. And so this energy that is really massive for us at the moment is kind of stepped down for us through the sun, through the electromagnetic grid, through the crystalline grid to the human. And of course, whales and dolphins receive this information as well, because they're under the water, aren't they? With the earth, with the crystalline grid around, under the water, also receiving the messages. So I think that's an amazing system we live in.
You helped explain it very well. And so when we experience these solar flares, then it comes across as various symptoms for humanity and our planet, not just knocking out electronics, but imagine what it's doing to our own energy and electronics.
Absolutely. So, I mean, it's a physical example for us, isn't it, when it starts interfering with electronics? But if when we know ourselves, when we're conscious of our bodies at any given moment during the course of our day, we can also, or night, because I've been woken up out of my sleep with this, buzzing in my ear, or other sensations through my body, then um, then that something is really going on, and um, we really can't be stuck in old thinking anymore. We need to move up to the fifth dimensional systems that are already in place for us, like the 12 fifth dimensional 12 chakra system. We've moved out of the 7 chakra system into the 12 chakra system, and this is really where these extra chakras come into play, because for example, the Earth Star chakra beneath our feet, that is the one that we should be sending that all these high frequency codes and high frequency codes that are coming in from the crystalline grid and the cosmos, and we should be sending that down into the Earth Star chakra, so that um, it translates that energy for us and puts it into a format which allows our body to absorb it even better. So by doing that, that then starts to eliminate a lot of those symptoms that you mentioned just then, Lauren, symptoms of ascension. And this is how we need to become more conscious of allowing that information in through the stellar gateway, the higher heart, and then down to the Earth Star chakra, and how that system works for us now. Because just allowing it to come in through the old 7 chakra system isn't enough. The 7 chakra system isn't coping, and it isn't processing those energies enough for us, for the body to actually receive them, for the DNA within our body to receive the information, for every cell in our body to be receiving that information. So I'll be going into more depth about some of those systems during the course that we'll be facilitating in a little while.
Thank you for that. We'll talk about that course and what's going to go on in those webinars, which will be recorded, of course. It's a global world, and many people check in just through the recordings, which contain that group energy. Let's have you do an activation.
So it's a 5th dimensional 12
Okay.
chakra system. Okay, so closing our eyes and taking a deep breath in through the nose, right down into the abdomen, and exhaling through the mouth. Another deep breath in, and just notice your breath as you're breathing in all the way down, And exhale. Notice your body as you take one more deep breath in and exhale. And just get into your own natural rhythm of breathing, but still taking those deep, deep breaths. Because too often we're breathing shallow from the chest, and we're in that fight or flight response. And when we begin to breathe deeply, we tell our body to go into the rest and rejuvenate state of being. And bring your attention to your heart. And take a deep breath into your heart. Breathe in gratitude through your heart. And if it helps, you can place your hands on your heart just to help you focus on that area of your body. And as you continue to breathe through the heart, just notice how it is opening and expanding. It's that warm sensation of your beautiful heart energy. Harin tahua kiara humpa kei ura haina kora e o makaiha tera shuku ai te muha e. And just take a deep breath into that. Now more than ever, it is safe to open up your heart and to feel its beautiful energy spreading throughout your chest as you allow it to continue to spread throughout your body into every cell in your body, from right down to your toes and the soles of your feet, to the ends of your fingers and to the top of your head. Allowing that beautiful heart energy to fill you up, to replenish your being. And now, more than ever, it is important for us to remain in this open-hearted state of being and to continue to expand that energy out into our field. Because by shining our light into the world, we demonstrate our divinity, our magnificence, and that there is nothing more powerful than your light. Nothing. All else retreats in the presence of the divine light, of the human being. Horakiana e maeaka shehe hora maaiku pach tu kora he shinara. And just take a deep breath into that. Just allowing these light codes and frequencies to be processed by your being. And now notice how you feel, how your body feels. And just staying in that heart center. Breathe in love. And breathe out gratitude. And become aware of the Earth Star chakra beneath your feet. It has always been there. We have just forgotten that we already have this amazing programming within our being. And the Earth Star chakra is kind of a mixture of black and white and shades of grey, as the fifth dimensional chakra system now has different colours. Tera ho kina a humpai kishura kina ai hei ho amakai hei a. And just breathe in those light codes and frequencies and send them all the way down to your Earth Star chakra. And feel that chakra expand. Your Earth Star chakra is also the lowest point where your Merkaba, fifth dimensional Merkaba, is anchored. And the highest point, of course, to now become aware of the stellar gateway. So you have your soul star chakra above your head, and the stellar gateway is above that. That's the highest point of your fifth dimensional Merkaba. And just become aware of the stellar gateway above your head. Harina aike shukumpa haina hurako e koratina o humpa e ho sheka ne in. And just breathe these light codes and frequencies in and send them to the stellar gateway above your head and feel it expand. And now you have the 3 points from the stellar gateway to your heart and from your heart to your Earth Star chakra. And just take a deep breath. Ma I teranu e kora e toroshe ain tuina a kea un. And just breathe that in, allowing it to permeate every cell, every layer of your being. And as you take a deep breath, breathe out gratitude And then breathe in love right down into your heart, breathing in love. And breathing out gratitude. You take another deep breath and prepare to open your eyes and become fully present once again.
A very grounding activation. Thank you for that.
So very welcome. Thank you.
So, this is a little taste of activations that you do and the light language that comes forward from you. Interesting how it was different at each of those chakra areas. The light language was different. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Mhm. So these are ways that you assist people in stabilizing in this consciousness, in 5D anchoring. And you've got some webinars coming up. They also involve sound. You work with the gong. Share with us the beauty of these. They're more than just a webinar, they are experiences that include the sound that people can work with even afterwards.
Yeah. That's been one of my one of the things that has really stuck with me was how can I help my clients beyond the actual webinar, beyond the class, beyond the healing session. And this is where, you know, the gong and my playing of the gong, which I've been doing now for 16 years this year, how that you know, has also evolved over the last 16 years, and the idea to record the gong and the voice and the light language that was coming through, and to gift that to my clients as a way of maintaining and enabling their body to process and maintain those higher frequency energies. And I really felt that that was a very important part of my work. And so, yeah, the webinars are more than just the information that I impart. They include the sound, the guided meditation, the light language activations, as well as the uh, it's sort of an alchemy, if I can use that word. It's an alchemy of all those components that then brings about something that is so much more than the sum of each of those parts. And that's just how I work. So it's the class, the webinar, and then there is something that each participant can take away as well to keep them you know, maintaining and processing that higher frequency energy in their bodies, because that's what we're doing, aren't we? We're embodying the fifth dimensional aspects of ourselves this time round. So it's no longer just the spiritual aspect of this journey, of this human journey. It is also the physical part of this human journey, and how that's where the unity consciousness comes in, the unity between the two hemispheres of the brain and the heart, and everything eventually down the track collapsing into the higher heart chakra, because nothing else is required. There's nothing that is in separation. All the chakras will eventually in our evolution collapse into the one heart chakra. So so this is where we're going. So this is what I'm teaching people step by step, how to do this. And the first webinar is teaching people that the first step into sovereignty, don't take things personally, which was one of my big things.
Unity consciousness really is not just in the collective, but within ourselves. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. It starts with ourselves, and then we, as everything does, as this deep inner work starts with ourselves, and we improve the relationship we have with ourselves, then we're able to ripple that out to others around us. If we love ourselves more deeply and are more compassionate with ourselves, then we're able to be more compassionate with others as well. So the work that we do for ourselves is not really just for ourselves and making our own lives easy. It is for the collective as well.
And you said one of the first things in sovereignty is not taking things too personally. That's one of
Mm.
your topics of one of the webinars. And what an important message in our world today when we can look outside and get flustered and get information that could take us out of our center. So, any advice for that when people come across something outside of ourselves?
Sure, we live in this world, in this physical world, so we're going to come across people and situations um, that are about conflict and drama, and so this is where, when we know ourselves, when we know what our triggers are, when we've healed those triggers and integrated them, reintegrated them into the wholeness of our being, then we can take a deep breath. We can see what's going on. We can see the situation is upsetting, or the person in front of us is upset, but we're not reacting to that situation. It's not a knee jerk reaction. It's more of a conscious reaction. So you can take a deep breath and go, okay, what is the best thing for me to do here? And this is where we start to take charge of situations around us, rather than having our emotions dominate us. We are in charge. We are sovereign within ourselves. This is personal sovereignty, and so um, when someone, for example, is yelling at us, then when we're standing in our sovereignty, in our sovereign state, we can be more compassionate towards them. We can say things like, "Oh, I see, that you are upset, and is there something that I can help you with?" As a response, as opposed to buying into the conflict and the drama and reacting to the person yelling at you. So immediately when you have someone yelling at you, but you're coming from this more calm, grounded state, the person that is yelling automatically begins to match your energy. It's something that we do as humans that we're not even conscious yet that we're doing, but people, will respond to where we're at. So if we're agitated, people will be agitated around us. If we're calm, people around us will be calm. And I notice this a lot with clients and family members as well, especially the elderly. They just there's definitely a response to when I calm and I'm grounded and centered, and then I respond from that place, rather than um, buying into that energy of conflict, because again, everything is energy, and our emotions are energy, and where we then are we're leaking energy when we're in these situations, when we're buying into situations of conflict and um, and drama.
And so, in that first webinar, you're going to teach how we can learn techniques to keep us really in our center and reacting
Yeah,
from that place. Beautiful.
yeah.
And then, and each of these webinars has a little bit of your gong The alchemy
Yes.
of light language and the gong work that you do. That's what makes those so beautiful. The next webinar is on honoring. And this is really no judgment of others. So we're going to write our own code of honor.
Yes, absolutely. So our bodies, our whole being, um, ha- is based in honesty and integrity. We just don't thrive when we're not honest with ourselves, and when we're not in integrity with ourselves. This also takes us out of our center. It knocks us out of the alignment of who we truly are. So when we're letting go of judgment of others and ourselves, when we're critical of ourselves, that comes from a place of fear. So when we recognize that, then we can begin to change those inner, the inner voice that speaks to us in a negative way. We can change that voice to speak more lovingly towards ourselves. And so this is where the code of honor. You choose how you will treat yourself and others. You choose your values and principles that will guide you in life and in all of your relationships, including that relationship, the most important one, which is that relationship with yourself. So this is again, um, authenticity, being your authentic self, stepping into your personal sovereignty, knowing who you are, and that it's okay to be who you are. Where sometimes we've been taught to we've created personas because these are things that we have picked up when we were children, connecting to your true authentic self. um, and sometimes we're using words like real self or true self, but they're all terms that are interchangeable, and they're referring to that part of ourselves that is the most honest aspect of who we truly are. So when we're the most authentic version of ourselves, that means all those masks and beliefs and thoughts and actions can be set aside. Then there's a sense of integrity, there's a sense of connectedness and wholeness within ourselves. Sometimes when we have to comply to I don't know, so say social codes and that we have in our own societies, then these external rules are help us create a persona, somebody who we're not, who we are not. So then sometimes this process for us starts in childhood when we take on thought processes, words and actions of authority figures around us, our parents, extended family members, um, teachers, whoever the authority figure is. It's important to be true to ourselves, especially I feel that there's a particular group within our society, and especially the empaths, because empaths sometimes don't even know they're empaths, and they take on other people's feelings, and they can't, and sometimes can't differentiate between their own feelings and those of others, and so they end up burying their true self, and never understanding that that's what they're doing. So this is where this code of honor for yourself, and again, we can create this in the webinar, and it's not the be all and end all. uh, as you expand and grow and learn more and more, then you'll also be tweaking your code of honor. So, but I'll certainly be getting you started with that one.
So the next webinar is BFF. And this is really no more self judgment, no more judgment of self and others as well.
Yes, that's right. this one's about self-love, and we're not taught to self-love. This is something that we're having to learn. It's a challenge for everyone. It's a lifelong journey. It's not like you can just say, oh, I've just learned self-love, I've learned one technique and that's it. Self-love is an ever deepening journey with yourself. It's a dynamic journey. It changes and shifts according to what your needs are in any given moment. And so when we might find that when we neglect ourselves emotionally, we're not only become emotionally toxic towards ourselves, but we bring this toxin into all of our relationships. And so in this webinar, we're going to learn ways to bring a state of tranquility and authenticity and harmony into everyday life. It's not only essential for our immune systems, but also for our emotional development. And it's another contributing factor to our personal sovereignty. And that's really one of my big things these days is it's all about the sovereignty. That's our next step into next step of our development, of our evolution, is to step into our personal sovereignty.
Beautiful. And there's a lovely and very special bonus with this that is customized for each person.
Yes, absolutely. And I love doing the webinars and all of that, but this is my absolute most favorite part, is to create the 15-minute personal gong sound journey track for each person. So this is created especially for each participant. The track will usually include a gong sound journey, light language codes and frequencies, and toning. These tracks are designed especially for each individual to continue to support you beyond the webinar series. You'll be able to download it and keep it forever and listen to it as many times as you feel you need to. The track will help you to maintain your raised frequency. Use it whenever you can feel depleted or need support after a challenging day, or listen to it in a continuous loop overnight. The sounds and frequencies are soothing, nourishing, and supportive on your journey to a better version of you. This is how I extend my sessions beyond the initial webinar series, and help people maintain that new level of frequency that was attained during the webinar series. So I'm really excited to be able to offer this as continued support, and I just think it's exciting.
So great tools to maintain the frequency and that state of beingness that's achieved in the time with you. And it truly is each of the customized gong recordings with the light language is codes for each unique person that will continue to be revealed to each of us. So thank you for that. Do you want to share why you're offering this webinar? Why now?
It's time, and it's needed. When I look out into the world, I can see that this is the next step for many people. I know a lot of people uh, have been on their journey for a long time. I know a lot of people woke up last year with the great change, and I can see that this is something that is needed in the community, and this is why I'm offering it. I've certainly done this journey myself. I don't teach anything that I have not done on myself, and I have found it to be so beneficial, so very, very beneficial. I went through my own personal transformation last year, and this series of webinars is the result of that transformation and what came to me in terms of the important parts that humanity needs to know now.
And again, we thank you for sharing. We know what we know inside, and that's how we evolve humanity, not just in our own life, but for the collective, is by sharing this great wisdom that we have within. The link to this webinar series is right here on this webpage, and we invite those to check it out and join Maya Boston in this beautiful series. It truly is alchemy from fear into love, from 3D into 5D with the Gong and light language. Anything else you'd like to share?
I just am very honored to be able to offer this, and I know and trust that whoever is ready to take these next steps will be stepping forward. I feel very blessed, Lauren, for being on your show again and being able to share this with so many more people out there. It's an amazing time to be alive, and I love it. I just love this amazing human journey that we are all on. So thank you so much, Lauren. I'm really deeply honoured and wish to express my deepest gratitude to you and your listeners. Thank you.
And we all send that big hug and love right back to you. Thank
Oh,
you, Maya
thank you.
Boston. Thank you.